Hey, what's going on there, everybody? It's the same lady here representing Team JVS, here to give you guys another movie review. This is straight from Apple TV Plus, but it's got some amazing actors in it. Case in point, Jennifer Lawrence and Brian Tyree Henry. Jennifer Lawrence is playing the role of Lindsay. Lindsay is a U.S. officer, U.S. soldier. She was in Afghanistan. She suffered a really bad injury. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it, but I think the journey of what happened to her is kind of openly revealed as it goes, but she's trying to get acclimated back to her normalcy of life, whatever that looked like. But you start to realize that her normalcy of life is very different, because where she came from is not where she wants to. She doesn't want to be back where she came from because she worked so hard to get to where she's at. And so now, not only is she going to have to confront her mom, confront her family, confront her old town, but now she realizes there may be someone or something there that can help her move forward through the rest of her life. And I'm talking about Brian Tyree Henry's character, James. James is, he's a good soul. He is a mechanic. He is very forthcoming, down to earth. Everybody pretty much knows him in the town. And the way that they first interact is she had a broken down truck and she didn't know what to do and she needed his help, and he kind of just helped her. But he didn't just help her with the truck. He helped communicate with her. He helped her, break down certain levels of things that she didn't want to deal with. And I think that is the basis of this story. And I think it's a very interesting one because the thing about it, on first glance, you identify that Jennifer Lawrence is dealing with definitely a lot of trauma, post-traumatic stress, and she may be dealing with some other things. And I think that Jennifer Lawrence, the way she portrays the character, I think she's doing a really good job of establishing all the physical and emotional issues that is going on within her without openly freaking out. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like she's consistently breaking down, losing it, consistently breaking out. Like, no, she's doing what she can to find stability, but she really does have an actual injury. She really is dealing with debilitating post-traumatic stress. And so because of that, you start to see very early on how really bad off she really is. But as things progress, you realize that, it's not to say, I'll give you an example. When I played football, I had a really bad break, literally. I broke my leg. And, they let me know, I could train, I could do this, I can rehab, but I may not be as strong as I used to be. That muscle, that bone may not be as strong as it used to be. But the even more than that, yes, I could probably go and play that sport again, but mentally, could I? And I think that is something that she's also dealing with. It's kind of like mentally and emotionally, she knows what she wants to go, and she wants to be away from this town, but she knows what she's capable of as well, and that's hard. Now, the other side of this, which I think is so fascinating with the character, James has a lot of different layers to him as well. Like, in certain aspects, they kind of complement each other, but at the same time, they need each other. It's a kind of the codependency and a communication going on. And it feels so natural. Like, the way that this actually scripted, their dialogue, open dialogue, going back and forth, it seems like really natural. One thing that was really jarring in the way that it was actually directed and kind of showcased was that you didn't really get to see any of the war stuff. You didn't get to see, what happened with her injury. You didn't get to see, what happened with certain things with her from her past. It's really a lot of exposition and communication and just open lines of dialogue, whether they're, going and eating outside, or whether they're at somebody's house, or whether they're just smoking outside, or whether they're in a pool. But each one of these moments means something. Like, it really surrounds them in their entirety as characters and as people. Like, they feel like real people. But it is weird. I think that for me, I was kind of like, they could have added like maybe a moment in the back half, like showing certain moments that kind of set them on the course of their life. Specifically with Brian Tyree Henry's character, because there's something very interesting that they do with him, without saying too much. And it is hard. It is really hard. But I think that the thing that works with that, even though they don't show it, which I think that if they would have showed it, I think from a viewer standpoint, I think it would have been like, whoa, this is a whole lot. This is really heavy. Because I think one thing about trauma is when you get to the actual moment of trauma and how it happens, it's kind of like, okay, with the way that they are very astute actors, like they understand the assignment. Because Jennifer Lawrence, we know for a fact she's an amazing actress. But in certain levels, like a lot of the heavy lifting is really off of the codependency and the heart that the character James plays for Lindsay. It's kind of like if he wasn't here, the stability of not just Lindsay, but a lot of different things that are happening for her comprehension and understanding. Because human interaction is everything. Like you have to be able to connect with people. And because of her trauma, because of her injury, she couldn't, right? And so this allows these two actors to really, truly showcase what they are. I think for her, she plays a very reserved performance with this one, but it doesn't, lend itself to a negative. It's actually a positive because it reinforces Brian Tyree's character to show how pivotal he is to making sure all this connects. Now, there are other actors and actresses in this, like Linda Emond is in this. Who else? There's somebody else that I want to picture in my head. But the thing about it is really about these two. And how they're trying to mesh together. And it's weird. It's such a great friendship, but it's also a very possible toxic one. It's a possible, man, this codependency is not necessarily a good thing. And what do you do? How do you refine that? The only thing for me, going in is kind of like, I really wish they would have shown a little bit more, like just actually showing different levels of it. But I see where it benefits from their acting capability, because I think Brian Tyree was amazing in this one. Like there's a scene at the pool with him and her, and like he does so much with that. He does so much with that. But even when I think that they're at the house and they've been drinking a little bit, like just the vulnerability, like you can just feel it. Like it feels so natural. And I think there's also moments, like I think Linda and Jennifer, mother-daughter, like they have a very vulnerable moment again at a pool. And it's interesting because it's symbolic, because of once you understand what, Lindsay's role was in the war, it makes sense, the connection to water with all of this. All in all, I'd give this an 8 out of 10. Great performances. I would have liked a little bit more, to seen a little bit more. But I think that, open line of dialogue, communication, the way it's shot, I think it lends itself for something very, immersive, and at the same time, very human and very needed in certain respects. I'll talk to you guys soon. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button. Peace, people.